Welcome. Welcome. I hope you've enjoyed the reception and had a chance to catch up with some old friends and perhaps make some new ones as well. Perhaps meet our special guests. So nice to have you all with us here tonight. Tonight we are gathering to recognize two extraordinary entrepreneurs who have, through their talent, their vision, their leadership, and tireless effort, created companies that improve lives and impact our society positively. This year's Academy of Distinguished Entrepreneurs inductees, Sheila Lirio Marcelo, founder, chairwoman, and CEO of Care.com. Yes, let's give her a round of applause. And Stephen Kaufer, co-founder, president, and CEO of TripAdvisor. Not much mystery left after that. There you go. Are accomplished entrepreneurs and have a global vision and global ties. We're so proud to have you both with us tonight. We're so glad that you would join us. Here at Babson, we educate entrepreneurs who aspire to be just like you, and who take such great inspiration from both of your examples. And we really hope that over the course of the next 2 days, you get to know our community, that you become a part of our community. We have 40,000 alums around the world in 114 countries, and they all have an entrepreneurial spirit. And when we induct distinguished entrepreneurs like yourselves to the ADE, we consider you part of our family. We consider you part of that network. And we hope that you come back often. We hope that you're with us and that by the end of these 2 days on campus, you will genuinely feel the warmth and the vibrancy of this entrepreneurial community that we have. So tonight, we are going to bring you on, and there are actually 108 members of the Academy of Distinguished Entrepreneurs that have been honored in the past, and collectively, they've created tens of millions of jobs. Think of it, only 108 people, but they've created tens of millions of jobs. How important are the people who we honor in this way to changing our society and making it better? So we are going to take a few minutes, enjoy our dinner, and get to know the wonderful people at your tables. And then we're going to come back and learn a lot about our honorees tonight and joyously celebrate their entry into our community. Have a wonderful dinner. Good evening. Good evening. I hope you all enjoyed your dinner and are ready to celebrate and hear from our Academy of Distinguished Entrepreneur honorees. Before we begin the ceremony, I'd like to welcome and thank Pierce Atwood, LLP, sponsor of the Arthur M. Blank Center for Entrepreneurship. Where are you? Thank you very much. We also have many other friends and champions of entrepreneurship here tonight with us. I want to thank all of you who contribute to the Blank Center and to our many efforts around entrepreneurship. I'd also like to thank the team at the Blank Center for leading our efforts to bring this wonderful ADE event to life, and their partners in the Events Management Office to create such a beautiful evening for us this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce two women who've helped Babson to become the acknowledged worldwide leader in entrepreneurship education. Professor Candy Brush is the F.W. Olin Distinguished Professor of Entrepreneurship and Vice Provost of Global Entrepreneurial Leadership. She is also serving as Faculty Research Director for the Arthur M. Blank Center for Entrepreneurship. Debbie Kleiman joined Babson last January as Executive Director of the Arthur M. Blank Center for Entrepreneurship, and has brought really tremendous energy and new ideas to our entrepreneurial programs here at Babson. Welcome to Debbie as well. Now I'd like to ask Debbie and Candy to come to the stage and begin the induction ceremony.
Thank you very much, Carrie. I'd like to welcome you all to this event again, and I'm sure you'll be welcomed many times. Thank you so much. It's great to see so many wonderful faces here and so many alums, so many students, and so many entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurship is like traveling to a new destination that you haven't visited before. But it's a whole lot easier if you have advice and the recommendations from those who have been there before. Stephen Kaufer founded TripAdvisor in 2000 with the mission to help travelers around the world plan and book the perfect trip. TripAdvisor is a tech pioneer in developing a business model around user-generated content and community-based reviews that have revolutionized the travel industry. Born in Hollywood, California, and the son of a lawyer, Steve graduated from Harvard College, majoring in computer science. He was passionate about tech, and he jumped into the software business, first as co-founder of Centerline Software, which made programming and testing tools that were sold to developers, and before TripAdvisor, he was president of CDS Inc. But during the planning of a vacation trip to Mexico, he realized that travelers had a problem determining whether or not the hotel, the restaurant, or the resort was really what it appeared to be. So the concept of TripAdvisor was born. After some work applying computer search and programming, Stephen moved forward to establish the company. Since founding in 2000, Steve grew the company and took it public in 2011. Today, with more than 3,000 employees globally, the website attracts more than 75 million visitors, more than 20 million members, and more than 60 million reviews and opinions. The company has more than 23 other travel media brands, and they operate in 48 markets worldwide. It is the most widely recognized, used, and trusted travel website. Self-described as driven, curious, and focused, Steve holds several software patents, and over the years he's been awarded a number of honors for his entrepreneurship and leadership in the travel industry, including being inducted into the 2015 British Travel and Hospitality Hall of Fame and receiving the 2015 Pioneer Award from the International Society of Hospitality of Consultants. He was the 2005 Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year recipient and serves on the board of directors for several companies, including Glassdoor, CarGurus, and the Neuroendocrine Tumor Research Foundation. Here's more about Stephen and what makes him so special and an incredible entrepreneur.
Steve was the perfect person to found TripAdvisor because travel is such a sort of messy, fragmented, in many ways like antiquated industry, right? So, the systems people use are so old and complicated, and what Steve did was really bring a view of how this could be better for travelers, right, by unlocking information and then using that power of the consumers and the wisdom of the crowds to force all these partners and travelers to sort of come together.
Throughout my time working with Steve, the thing that he kept stressing was, how do we get something out the door as quickly as possible so we can start a feedback loop? And paring down the ideas to the bare essentials so we can get in front of the customer, which is far more important than trying to build out a feature set.
Every year I've been at TripAdvisor, there's always been this balancing act between executing on the core business and thinking about what's coming next. And the thinking about what's coming next sometimes is very linear, but every once in a while there's been this desire to evolve in a very nonlinear way.
And I remember the day he came in and he said, I think I'm going to let people write reviews And a couple of us looked at each other and went, okay. And we didn't realize what a huge thing it was going to be. But he did, and that's why he's the guy.
We've brought transparency to the travel ecosystem. We've provided consumers with a wealth of information about reviews and places to go and what other people think about it in a timely, up-to-date fashion. That didn't exist prior to that, and that changed the world because now it's just an expectation that was not the case when we first started.
At the end of the day, I think Steve's just deep down a good person, right? That cares about other people, that cares about the industry, that cares about the impact we're having.
He sees the solution when other people are seeing the problem, and even if it seems insurmountable to the people around him, us, he would calmly say, no, we're just going to go on through and we'll get out the other side, and we always have.
How do we create ideas, throw them out there, and try and try and try, and that desire and need to never give up, that's been his journey. And so if I look at TripAdvisor and what we've done, it has been just a force of will to make this succeed.
I'd like to invite Steve Kaufer to come to the stage, please.
Just in case. Well, that was truly embarrassing if you were in my shoes there. Very kind for so many people to say so many nice things. I certainly want to thank all of you, everyone in the room, for bestowing upon me such a nice honor. It's actually too much, but I appreciate the gesture. I of course have to begin with noting that no entrepreneurial success story is about the entrepreneurial leader. It's about that entrepreneurial team. And you saw some of the great original team members up on the screen just a few minutes ago. There's many more in the room today. But if you are an entrepreneur, as you go through your journey, you too will recognize that it is the qualities of the team that you're building that will make your company a success. I can't actually say very much on entrepreneurial leadership because I haven't studied it very much. But I thought I would share what drives me, just as a sample size of one, and maybe you can think about what words I say that might help or, conversely, might hurt in thinking about being an entrepreneur. I'm going to go at this from a couple of different perspectives: personal, business, and spiritual. On the personal side, I love to learn. And I think a lot of TripAdvisor came out because I was always just very curious about what was going to happen next. How could I learn the next thing to make the business hum? And when it didn't work, that's fine. We cast it aside and we tried something new. So personally, I don't mind making mistakes. Of course, nobody ever wants to make the same mistake twice, but that's just part of learning. You're going to fail and you get back up and you move forward. Of course, I want to win, but it's not personal if I lose, if I fail. I'm going to keep back up. I'm going to get myself back up and move forward. On the business side, I thought of 5 of my favorite quotes that I take a moment to share with you. The first, and this will come as absolutely no surprise to any TripAdvisor employee in the room, is speed wins. It's the notion of building a habit of going really fast as an entrepreneur, or actually just going fast in achieving whatever your goals are. If you think it'll take me a month or 2 to do it, ask yourself, can it be done faster, or why not? Or what's the critical path? Because the sooner you can finish something, the sooner you can start the very next thing. So speed wins would be number one. Number two, and many of you may know where I stole this one from, done is better than perfect. Now that's a little dicey to say at an educational institution, because when I was in school, term papers were assigned, they had due dates, and you kind of got no credit if something was handed in early, and a big penalty if something was late. Business world works completely differently, right? You want to get as much done as you can as soon as you can, so rather than waiting for something as perfect, ship it, put it out there. And as Nick said in the video, start that feedback loop to figure out how you can improve it. Maybe there's nothing more that you need to do, so you can go on to the next thing, or maybe you've learned something rather than doing what you think is a perfect job before actually moving on to the next item. Number three, if it's worth doing, it's worth measuring. How many times do we go about trying to improve something? How many times do we go about trying to think about how a business might be structured and not really knowing what those end goals, whether you're meeting them or not? If you're not actually measuring all of the different outcomes that you're hoping for, you don't know when to stop and give up on those pieces, and you really don't know when to double down on the ones that work. And I've had people come up to me after I've offered this bit of advice, and they've said, yeah, but that doesn't really work for all things. How about public relations? How do you measure that? Like, of course that works. If you want to spend $10,000 on a PR firm, $100,000 or $1 million, I bet you expect different results. What is the quantity of those results that'll make you happy with that spend and make you want to spend more? So, if it's worth doing, it's worth measuring. And conversely, if you're not going to bother to measure it, maybe you want to think about not doing it. Number 4, the harder you work, the luckier you get. I looked this one up. I really loved it. Cannot find I found multiple sources of attributions. My favorite story, so I can't tell whether it's true or not, is a golfer had made a beautiful putt. An adoring fan came out and said, "My God, that was the luckiest putt I've ever seen." The golfer responds like, "Yeah, ever since I started practicing 10,000 putts a week, I've been getting luckier." As you run a business, think about how long it'll take you to do something, and then, wow, if you're actually working harder at it, you're just much more likely to run across that success metric, the thing that's really going to tip the business forward sooner. Instead of running 10 experiments in a month, you ran 15. Wow, the odds just turned to your favor. And number 5, embrace change and reinvent yourself and perhaps your company. So I personally learned this the hard way in a previous company where things were going well, they were going very well. We thought, frankly, we were doing everything right. And to some degree we were, because we were making money. That was our success goal, until the market changed out there and we started to lose money. And we lost and lost, and the story's really not very pretty after that. What happened along the way? People like me on the management team were saying, hey, we have to keep doing what we were doing, as opposed to recognize that there were forces that required change. So we have to embrace the change, and then I add the clause, reinvent yourself when times are good, because it's so much easier to change when things are actually going pretty well than when things have already hit the skids. I apply this all the time at TripAdvisor now, where things are going really well. We're a very profitable company. But we want to look and say, just because we were doing something this way 3 years ago is not a good reason to think that that's the best way we should do it now. Let's reinvent ourselves. And I'll toss in a couple of should we do it at all questions. Well, that really gets people scared. They might lose their job. We're changing the whole thing. No. Think about how we could be a lot smarter at doing it. Force yourself. And then to the folks in the room and to all the TripAdvisor employees, I always ask, can you be the change agent within the company? Can you take it upon yourself to figure out what's the next best way to get from wherever you are to wherever you want to be and lead that change? I am a believer in setting your sights on something and then figuring out how you get there. Sometimes you can't, as I talked about my first company failing, but you always learn a ton no matter which way the story ends. TripAdvisor, of course, has worked out pretty well so far. But our challenge as a company is to make it literally 10 times better than it is now, helping more travelers all around the globe, helping locals, helping everyone that can use the services that everyone else is writing about in their reviews and photos and content and all the things that some of you may appreciate out of your usage of TripAdvisor. Huge world out there, massive potential. Maybe 10x is sandbagging it a bit, I don't know. And then finally, if I covered personal and I covered business, how about the spiritual piece? Because my life at least, isn't always about work or family. Yes, I want a successful company, a nice career, good family life, but I also want to leave the world a better place. The Jewish tradition calls it tikkun olam, making the world a better place for everyone. And while TripAdvisor, hey, I think it's a great site, it's a great company, it's still just a website. If my job was actually running a medical center or being a nurse or being a teacher, those are jobs that really help spread knowledge. They help other people in very meaningful, tangible ways. But I'm not one of those professions, so I feel I need to do more to give back to the world, more than run a travel company. So I help out where I can, on the board of a cancer charity, raising money for the horrible refugee issues that we see in Europe right now, as a supporter for the MS Society, and some other philanthropic activities I'm involved with. I feel I've been blessed with so many things that it's my obligation, scratch that, it's my privilege to give back in as many ways as I can. Thank you for listening, and thank you again for this very prestigious honor. Thank you.
Don't go away. Thank you, Stephen. And first of all, you can be a teacher here anytime you want to come. So in recognition of the outstanding achievements that you have earned, that have earned for you the admiration and high esteem of the society which you serve, this testimonial citation is presented to Stephen Kaufer of TripAdvisor on the occasion of your induction to the Academy of Distinguished Entrepreneurs, Thursday, November 10th, 2016. Are you going to do a photo here?
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hope you enjoyed your dinner and have enjoyed the evening so far. I met Sheila for the first time back in 2011, and I could tell, anyone could tell, this was a woman on a mission. She is full to the brim with energy, intelligence, and fire, and she shares it with everyone who is lucky enough to spend time with her. Like all great entrepreneurs, Sheila founded Care.com in 2007 to solve a big problem, and a problem that was really personal to her: finding quality care for her loved ones, her young children, and her parents. Fortunately for all of us that depend on Care.com on a daily basis, like me, she also had the professional experiences and the drive to make it a reality. Today, the company is the world's largest online destination for finding and managing family care, with more than 2.7 million members across 18 countries. Care.com went public in January of 2014 after raising over $100 million in venture funding. Committed to many causes close to her heart, Sheila's values are deeply felt and on display daily. She is a board trustee for the Philippine Development Foundation and also the founder of Women Up, a nonprofit she created to increase women's roles in the global economy through leadership training, mentorship, and support. Both of these roles are testament to her desire to make an impact on a global scale. She has been honored with numerous accolades. I can't even read them all, or we would never go home tonight. But I'll tell you about a few that really stood out to me. She was the youngest recipient of the Harvard Business School Alumni Achievement Award for a lifetime achievement. And she was bestowed one of the highest honors for Filipinos, the Filipino Heritage Award, given to her by the President of the Philippines. She's in high demand as a speaker on women in technology and female entrepreneurship and leadership. I'm thrilled to have Sheila join us tonight to be inducted into the Academy of Distinguished Entrepreneurs. She is someone who inspires all of us with her talent, her determination, and her grace. And now, here's a little bit more about what makes Sheila so incredibly special and truly deserving of this honor.
What made Sheila the perfect person to found Care.com is her personal story and her own personal need. Early on in life, she found herself in a sandwich generation. She had 2 kids. Her parents came to care for her youngest, and her dad had a heart attack. And Sheila was working at a startup, caring for her kids, helping support her family. And fast forward, thought, here I am at a tech company. Why am I using the phone book to find care for my loved ones? And I'm not the only person having this problem. I'm gonna go do something about it, and she did.
From day one at Care.com, she was so focused on building the right combination of skills, but really underlying all of that, the right team, the right individuals who were really passionate about the mission of Care.com and who could work together collaboratively to build what we've built here in the past 10 years.
Sheila is really a true entrepreneur. I think she has mastered the art of balance. We have this incredible vision for Care.com, but it's not just enough to have a vision. Sheila really knows how to execute against that vision.
We're still running like a small, nimble startup when we address new projects and new opportunities. We create small teams that go after those opportunities, much like a startup would.
She had every single member of the team bring in a picture of someone in their family that they loved. It could be your grandparent, your child, your husband, your pet. And as we were having these conversations, either metrics, these trend charts, or how to do the next feature in a product, it was like, okay, now imagine if this was for your loved one. What decision would you want to make? All those data points actually represent people. And this laser focus on if we deliver on the mission, the other pieces will fall into place.
She's never satisfied with something that's just good enough. She's always pushing for excellence. She's always pushing the organization to do its best.
She cares about making a difference in the world. She cares about creating a business and setting it up to succeed and grow. And most of all, I think she cares about the success of the people around her, and that when she has this drive to succeed, it's not just for herself, but it's for everyone that she's bringing along with her.
I do believe that reflects Sheila's character, that she believes that all the superficial elements of success are very fleeting, and in fact, the impact you have on others is what your significance is in this world.
I think Sheila has been a groundbreaking leader. She's set up an amazing company, and I think that's something that a lot of women aspire to, and hopefully it's inspiring a generation of young women and leaders to do the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sheila Marcelo, founder, CEO, and chairman of Care.com.
Thank you. That was such a surprise video. I can see why Steve started a little emotional. Thank you, Debbie, for that lovely introduction. It's actually truly humbling to be introduced and to be inducted into an academy that has honored the likes of Michael Bloomberg, Sir Richard Branson, and Ray Kroc, and among many notable others. And to share this evening with actually my very dear friend Steve makes it all the more special. Steve's not only my friend, he's also a confidant, an advisor since the very beginning of Care, and someone I've long admired. Congratulations. I'm honored to share this evening with you, Harry, and the rest of the team at TripAdvisor. I've been thinking a lot about my entrepreneurial journey recently and the gifts in my life. October marked the 10th anniversary of the founding of Care.com. A milestone that is at the same time impossible to believe, yet entirely expected. What do I mean by that? Impossible to believe, not just because the years have flown by, but because too few companies get to reach this point, despite great ideas and endless hours of hard work. 90% of companies don't make it to their 5th anniversary. And of those that do, 90% of those don't make it to their 10th. So it's a tremendous gift, one that I share with our team, including Donna. Gets emotional. One of our co-founders who is with me here tonight. I see her nodding at how quickly the time has gone, remembering the milestones with me. Donna, you are a gift, and I feel very lucky to have had you in my life when we started this together with Dave and Zenu, who everybody saw in the videos, and won't ever forget the many dinners, the debates, the long hours, the surprise gift of Kira, her youngest, and your little memento of sunshine that you reminded us every day that got us through those very tough days. But as I said, marking our 10 years is also expected because, well, that's how entrepreneurs think. We are in, all in, from day one. We are risk takers, yes, but it's so much more than that. We believe deeply, fervently, and unabashedly in our missions. Sometimes I get asked now that I've been here for 10 years whether I'm ready for something else. I don't know why they keep asking that question. My answer is always the same. We have so much more to do, and we just got started. It's just the first chapter. Assuming I'm still the right person for the job to help continue to scale this company, I can see doing this for another 20 years. I know my husband, Ron, hears that and thinks that's a long time. I love you, honey. Not only for your unwavering patience and unconditional love and support, but for being part of this team from the beginning and giving birth to the brand when you helped us purchase the special 4-letter domain, care.com. A lot of people don't know that history. Ron, we not only celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary this year together, but also the 10th anniversary of our 3rd child, Care. Happy anniversary, my love. In celebrating this special milestone, I'm also reminded that as entrepreneurs, we also don't see obstacles. We see challenges. We don't see failure. We see opportunities, as Steve mentioned, to test and iterate, to fail, and to get back up again. And most importantly, we don't see success as the final destination. It's one stop on a long, amazing journey. That's certainly how these 10 years have been for Care.com. Our mission then remains our mission now, to help families find the care they need for their loved ones and help caregivers find meaningful work. One of the most fulfilling parts of my job are the notes I receive from families or people approaching me to thank me for the care they have in their life because of Care.com. Or a caregiver coming up to me at an event to thank me for enabling her to finding meaningful work to help her get through college. Those stories are my daily reminders of our mission and give me the energy to tackle the enormous care challenges in front of us. When we started, everyone thought it was impossible to create this company in a very fragmented market. I had a friend from a top investment bank ask me, why would I start a babysitting company after all my education and experience? In speaking to another mentor, though, he asked me a very poignant and powerful question. Sheila, are you in the pain business or the pleasure business? Because 10 years ago, I was contemplating not starting the company, instead joining a hot mobile entertainment company as the CEO. He was asking me what made my heart beat, helping solve really difficult issues for families, whether that was helping families save money for college, that was at You Promise. Many You Promise people are at care.com. Find jobs, that was the ladders, and now finding care. Or going into entertainment. In that moment, I knew exactly what was my North Star. We thought big 10 years ago. Multiple verticals like childcare, senior care, pet care, and more. And we envisioned a global footprint so we could help families and caregivers worldwide. I'm enormously proud that our team has made that vision a reality, serving 22 million members in 19 countries today. We would not be where we are without our team. Another amazing gift in my life. And I want to thank them and some special folks here who have been with us from the beginning. Steve, Scott, and Margot. Robin are those that joined midway, including Erica, Alan, Susan. Josh, Aaron, who is my incredible assistant who truly just works her magic. Jody, Tom, or those that just recently joined, Jackson and Winnie. And we have some advisors here tonight. Andrea, Adrian, Fernanda, thanks for being part of this care journey. I'm certainly proud of what we accomplished, but more than that, I'm in awe of what our company stands for. For our anniversary, we asked employees across the company how they wanted to celebrate. A committee of 20 eager volunteers came together. It was 10 days of small celebrations. They didn't want a big party or another embarrassing music video from the management team. They wanted to keep that special, apparently, for the annual holiday party. Instead, they wanted to reflect who we are and what our culture stands for. That meant kicking the 10 days off with a day of service for everyone in the company, across all our offices in the US and Europe, so we could serve our communities. Being of service together. I felt a great sense of pride knowing our team lives by our values. Thank you for being there for each other, for our members, our community, and for being there every day in my heart. And I'm frequently asked, why care? There are many other pain businesses. Why this one? Where does my passion for this issue come from? It's actually very personal. Many of you may know my story, that Ron and I became parents during college and struggled to find care for our son, Ryan, who is here tonight. Recently, I had the honor of receiving an award from the Asia Pacific Fund, and they asked Ryan, now 24, to introduce me. I wasn't just proud that he had the courage to speak in front of 500 people. He said, Mom, afterwards, that was the first time ever. But that he spoke from the heart, just as he had 3 years ago at our IPO celebration dinner when he surprised me and took an open mic. In that speech, he told me how he and his brother, our younger son Adam, understood the sacrifices I made as a mom, since he was enormously proud of what we were doing to make an impact on millions of people's lives. That was more about significance than success, and he somehow heard me say that. Just hearing children imbue our values was enough to make me proud. But there was something deeper that he did for me at both dinners. Ryan, I love you for not only being our son, but I realize at those moments that I can proudly say, I love you for being an incredible feminist. What you did wasn't just for me, you did something for all women and men to hear that we need to raise women up. And speaking of strong women, my mother, Amelia, who is also here tonight, thank you for proving why the Philippines is one of the top countries in the world with the narrowest gender gap and the top one in Asia. You've graced me with your gifts of strength, tenacity, courage, business savvy, commitment to family, an unwavering passion I am so thankful for every day. And my team thanks you for my tiger mom traits too. Well, sometimes. But another reason the Philippines has the narrowest gender gaps in the world is because of its men. And for me, that's especially true of another very special person here tonight, who often doesn't like to go to big events like this. He's my quiet, humble, shy, and incredibly kind, gracious, and thoughtful father, Dario, who, by the way, when I got up this morning, said, "Do I really have to go to this thing?" He's the kind of dad who likes to stand at the window or at the door every morning when we are headed to work, every morning, and waves goodbye until he can't see us anymore. Just as he did when we were kids going off to school. He's also the kind of dad who doesn't mind helping me or my mom recently this past weekend iron our clothes when we recently traveled together. He's the most patient man, and he will review outfits every morning, even if my mom decides to change 10 times. And yes, he really does pay attention. I often credit my dad for also being an inspiration for me to start CARE. When Adam was an infant, my parents were helping us care for both boys. My dad was carrying Adam up the stairs when he had a heart attack in his 50s. I was 29 and became sandwiched, looking for care for 2 small children and my parents. Those were tough, tough times, and they certainly helped me put me on the path to care.com. Like my mom, my father also gave me great gifts. He gave me early courage to believe in myself by pushing me to read in English in front of dinner guests, even at the age of 3, teaching me math even earlier than my older brothers, by pushing my sister and me to believe in our dreams and never held us back because of our gender, ever. And most of all, for being a role model for our entire family, what it means to be an incredibly strong man sharing everything 50-50 with mama, while also being kind-hearted and nurturing. Thank you for those gifts of inspiring me to start care.com, but most of all for truly giving me the gift of unconditional love and care, Papa. So my connection to care and helping others stems from my parents and my personal experience, as well as my ethnic background. 10 years ago, when I told my mother my plans for the company, she reminded me that the Philippines is the largest source of caregivers in the world. As I thought about that, I thought about more links to my heritage, about the Filipino commitment to caring for others. It is part of our culture and values. My family, Mama and Papa, Ron, Ryan, and Adam, you are by far my greatest gifts. You have always stood behind me and by my side, and this journey is richer because I travel with each of you. As you can see, I get to bring my whole self to work and what I do every day. That's a rare gift. I work with an incredibly passionate team, and I feel very, very fortunate. But as I think about my role as a leader, I've come to a conclusion that it has to be bigger than my company. I'm learning a new phrase. My friend Fernanda is here. She will like this phrase. Systemic changer. As you grow in your career, you realize that you have to learn a functional expertise. Then as you master that, you learn to lead others by focusing on their needs, dreams, and aspirations. You are there for them. And then as a leader, you realize that you have to do more for your community. Companies do a great job with doing community service, contributing to nonprofits, and making sure they have CSR plans.
But what I'm learning as I evolve in my role is that a systemic changer moves beyond what they do within their company or their local communities. A systemic changer figures out how to leverage the assets within their company, its team, its brand, its values, and the leader's own voice to create lasting, systemic, social change. As Care.com has grown, we've had the opportunity, and candidly, we believe the responsibility to show how fundamentally important care is to families, our economy, and society as a whole, and to do all we can to amplify the challenges families face and advocate for systemic change in the way we think about and value care. Caregivers, on average, many of you may not know this, are paid $9 an hour, and golf caddies, $17 an hour. Many are immigrant, minorities, and 50% are on public assistance. And 65% domestic workers don't have health insurance. We decided to launch the first ever pooled portable benefits for caregivers in this growing gig economy so that caregivers have access to a social net too. Living up to this responsibility also comes in many forms. Policy, social advocacy, and building coalitions that transect the business, nonprofit, and government spheres. We joined forces with the National Domestic Workers Alliance, the nation's leading advocacy group for caregivers, and New America, one of the leading think tanks, to form the WhoCares.org, which is launching a social change movement to transform how we think about and value care and caregiving. WhoCares.org. As I get to know Ai-jen Poo, who runs NDWA and has become a very dear friend. She's about to get married. I'm so happy for her. I told her she too has been a blessing and a gift in my life. She's given me the gift of what I call proximity, something I heard from Brian Stevenson, who calls the important step we need to take leading towards justice. Rather than just being focused on the binary code that we've got on our apps and website, of the zeros and ones, Ai-jen gave me the chance to spend time, to be proximate with hundreds of caregivers and have them touch my life. I know we were there for them to find jobs, but they gave me a wonderful gift of proximity. This gift has strengthened my conviction in our mission from 10 years ago because, quite simply, if we continue to undervalue care, we won't have the caregivers we need to look after our loved ones or ourselves. There are many incredible leaders in this room who have access to many, many assets. Great minds, great education, great teams, great technology. We are, after all, in Boston, where we gave birth to Facebook, among dozens of other great tech innovations, where we have more than 40 extraordinary universities like our host here in Babson, and incubators and accelerators, and where in 2014 our innovation economy raised $4 billion in funding. With outside-the-box thinking, unusual partnerships, and that same die-hard belief in the mission that defines all entrepreneurs, we can all make inroads to drive systemic change. Because as I said, success is not the final destination. This is exactly why I became an entrepreneur. To help people by building a solution to a pain point in their lives. And frankly, it's why all entrepreneurs choose this path. Because we see a better way of doing something, a solution to a problem, an idea to make life easier, simpler, or just more enjoyable. And no, it's not an easy path. There are pivots and unexpected twists and turns, but it's never boring, really never boring, and always, always rewarding. And it's even more so if you're doing all that you love with a wonderfully supportive family, an incredibly soulful team, partners who remind you how important proximity is to what you do every day, and a mission and purpose that is driven to make an impact on millions of people's lives. I feel very, very blessed with the many gifts in my life and for this extraordinary honor to give me the chance to say to you that you can be a systemic changer, or what Steve said that I just learned, tekumalam, to make an impact, and that you can start today. Thank you for this honor.
Thank you, Sheila. In recognition of the outstanding achievements that you have earned, that have earned you admiration and high esteem of the society which you serve, this testimonial citation is presented to Sheila Lirio Marcelo on the occasion of your induction into the Academy of Distinguished Entrepreneurs on Thursday, November 10th, 2016. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I hope you will agree with me that it's been an extraordinary evening, and please join me again in congratulating our honorees, Stephen and Sheila, and welcome to the Babson community. Sheila and Stephen, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your passion with us this evening. Truly inspirational. And for those of you who can join us tomorrow morning, we're going to be continuing the conversation at the Babson Entrepreneurship Forum, our student-led all-day conference on entrepreneurship. The first event is going to be a fireside chat with Sheila and Stephen, which I have the great honor of hosting, and now I have a lot of inside information that I can use to sound very knowledgeable when I am speaking with you, so it's going to be a lot of fun. The students are always in awe of the entrepreneurial journeys which our honorees have, and it is a highlight of the entire year to be able to have that conversation. Following that session, the forum has an exciting day planned, full of breakout sessions and discussions by leading entrepreneurs from all around the the roles of entrepreneurship in our very rapidly changing world. So thank you again for coming tonight. You're welcome to take with you the picture frame that you have in front of you tonight as a token that will help you remember this evening with your colleagues and friends. I hope to see you tomorrow at the Babson Entrepreneurship Forum, and thank you all and good night. Thank you.